Y'all enjoy the music this morning?
Amen.
I know you can't say no knowing that my youngest. Jeff, these your glasses?
No, so they was up there,
They're probably Angie's.
I think that was your daughter's actually.
May have been. She gets excited too. But years ago, Angie sung with a group. And one of their ministries was going to hospitals, daycare centers, old folks' homes and stuff. And they would always end up with Jesus walk around me. And as I was preparing this week, I got to thinking, I said, well, it would be good if I got Jesus walk around me up there this morning and help me. So that's why she sung that. And Katie always makes me cry when she sings that song with Jesus' arms wide open. That's why I got over this morning before she couldn't see me cry, because it breaks my heart. I love that song.
Amen.
And that song is so true. Jesus' arms is always wide open. I told y'all this morning, I realized that I'm talking to the core of the church. I said, if you have never sinned, you can stay home tonight. Well, I guess we got a lot of people that don't sin like I do. But anyhow, it's good to have y'all here. We had a good crowd this morning, and I hope y'all got as much as I did out of it. Old Patrick lets me do this every 2 or 3 months. I'm sort of like the Energizing Bunny. Y'all seen that rabbit on TV talking about them badgers? And my badger will get run down. But when I do this, I'm okay for 2 or 3 months. But anyhow, tonight we're going to read a couple of scriptures, one out of Matthew chapter 18, if y'all want to follow me. And then we're going to move over to John chapter 8, verse 1 through 11. I'll give you time to get there. We're going to be talking about a subject tonight that people don't like to talk about, sin. I don't know why we don't talk about it. All of us does it. I mean, there's no way to live a perfect life like we live in the world today. We just have to do the best we can. And the only thing difference between us and a lost person, we have the grace of Jesus Christ to ask Him for forgiveness when we sin.
Amen.
And try to not do it again.
That's right.
But I looked up sin in the dictionary. I thought I already knew what it meant. And it says breaking a religious rule or doing something wrong. That's a sin. Let's read Matthew. Oh, Matthew, I love Matthew. I had this sermon 2 or 3 weeks ago when I was young. Well, I really had another sermon, and it was Miss Sheldon's Sunday school class last Sunday, so I swept that under the rug. And I had this one, and about Wednesday, that sermon we talked about this morning I couldn't get it out of my mind. The scriptures kept coming to me. I'd go to sleep at night. I could go over the scriptures that I read this morning. I said, well, I better do that. And so Patrick, he had just asked me to do this morning, and I guess when I got here this morning, he said, can you do it again tonight? And of course I said, yeah, because I already had something that I wanted to do anyhow. But anyhow, we're going to be talking about sin. It says, at the same time came the disciples unto Jesus, saying, who is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven? And Jesus called a little child unto him, and set him in the midst of them, and said, verily I say unto you, except you be converted, and become as little children, ye shall not enter into the kingdom of heaven. Whosoever therefore shall humble himself as a little child, the same is greatest in the kingdom of heaven. And whosoever shall receive one such little child as in my name receiveth me. But who shall offend one of these little ones which believe in me, it will be better for him that a millstone will hang about his neck, and that he will drown in the depth of the sea. Woe unto the world because of the offenses, for it must needs be the offenses come. But woe to that man by whom the offense is coming. Wherefore, if thy hand or thy foot offend thee, cut them off, and cast them from thee. It is better for thee to enter into life half or maimed, rather than having 2 hands or 2 feet to be cast into the everlasting fire. And if thy eye offend thee, pluck it out, and cast it from thee. It is better for thee to enter into life with 1 eye, rather than having 2 eyes to be cast into hell. Okay, let's move on over to John now. 1 John. That's the one right after Luke, Matthew, and John. Chapter 8, verse 1 through 11. Jesus went into the Mount of Olives, and early in the morning he came again into the temple, and all the people came unto him, and he sat down and taught them. And the scribes and Pharisees brought unto him a woman taken in adultery. And when they had set her in the midst, they said unto him, Master, this woman was taken in adultery in the very act. Now Moses in the law commanded us that such should be stoned. But what sayest thou? This they said, tempting him, that they might have to excuse him. But Jesus stooped down, and with his finger wrote on the ground, as though he heard them not. So when they continued asking him, he lifted up himself and said unto them, He that is without sin among you, let him first cast a stone at her.
Amen.
And again he stooped down and wrote on the ground. And they heard it, being convicted by their own consciences. Went out one by one, beginning at the oldest, even unto the last. And Jesus was left alone, and a woman standing in the midst. When Jesus had lifted up himself and saw none but the woman, he said unto her, Woman, where are those that accuse you? Have no man condemned thee? She said, No man, Lord. And Jesus said unto her, Neither do I condemn thee. Go and sin no more. The first passage that I read out of Matthew, it was using the parts of the body as sin instruments. And he told us if our hand done something that would keep us out of heaven, it would be better to cut it off and enter into heaven with just one hand. Alright, and then he goes to the eye. He said if your eye does something it's not supposed to, now listen, man.
Yeah,
Have you ever looked at this pretty woman that walked in front of the car? My wife always said, did you get your eyes full? Now, there's nothing wrong with looking at a beautiful woman. I'm not saying that. But it's the thoughts in your mind, if this eye causes you to think something bad about looking at that woman, then you have sinned. And therefore, the Bible says, pluck it out.
that's right.
Now, I tell you, I worked at the plant for 36 years. And, of course, I worked in production. And the maintenance shop was way down on the end. The plant was almost a quarter of a mile long. And in the maintenance shop, that you could imagine. If you know the size that you needed, all you had to do was look down at the bottom, and if you needed 1 3/16, it would be in there. And I used to see those guys go down there, and they would pick up pockets full and tow them home. Because the guards don't strip search you. They had guards out at the front, as long as you didn't carry a wheelbar or tow motor or something, they'd never stop you. Millions of boats, washers. I bet you some of them had to build another garage to put them in. I used to think to myself, and this scripture would come to me, for them, and half the time they didn't need that stuff. The plant really didn't care if you went down there and got one bolt or one nut. But they would get handfuls and put in their pockets. And it would have been better if they couldn't control themselves to saw their hand off where they would have done it. But they didn't do that. They didn't do that. I was just a little thing. I've seen them take ropes. They got ropes, all sides of ropes, on a big wheel. All you had to do was pull it out. If you wanted a 15-foot rope to pull a pipe up in the building, something, you measured it off. They had it marked off on the floor. I've actually seen them wrap them ropes around them and put your shirt back on and walk out. I told one of them one night, I said, you can buy that same rope at the hardware for 35 cents. Stuff like that. And this scripture always comes back to me every time that I would see when I'm doing it.
Amen.
And then old John writes that the Pharisees was trying to trap Jesus. Anything he done that they didn't believe in, they tried to trap him. So they went off and found this woman that committed adultery. Now in that day and time, and even in Moses' time, that was one of the most worst sins that could be committed, was adultery. And in Moses' day, if she was caught, they was stoned to death. Well, they asked Jesus, he said, this woman was caught right in that. What do you think we should do with her? Now, I tell you, the more I study the Bible, the more I realize that Jesus had to be the smartest man ever been.
Amen.
And before they could even get through the story, I can't sit down because if I do, I won't be able to get up, y'all. When I'm asking, what do you want to do? Now, I know all of us is doodling the ground before. And Jesus went to writing in the ground. I had Jacob started playing t-ball. And we went and seen him play 2 or 3 times. But the other night, his mind must have been in another world. Because the coaches carried them out there and put them in positions, and they got more coaches basically than they got players out there. Y'all been to a t-ball game. And Jacob, before I know it, he was down there writing and drawing his name on the ground. He was doodling in the ground. Well, the Pharisees just kept accusing this woman. And Jesus didn't pay them no attention. Or act like he didn't pay them no attention. And he brought it to his attention again, said, she's committed adultery. What you want us to do? And Jesus said, he raised up. And he said, if any of you had never sinned, cast the first stone at this woman.
Amen.
Now, I'm going to tell you, sometimes we have bad things happen to our children. You know, after they get a certain age, you can't control it. And things that's going to happen in their life that just breaks your heart. I've got holes in mine, it's been broke many times that you could catch you couldn't hit one whole water. Ain't nothing you can do about it. All you can do is help them and go on. They have their lives to live. But we have to be careful. Let me tell you something. If your daughter or granddaughter comes up pregnant, it's easy to sit back with, well, I'm telling you, she ain't nothing but, I ain't going to use that name.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
But better let me tell you, you better not sweep under your doorstep because dirt may be building up on the porch.
That's right.
If you got any children, it may happen to you.
Mm-hmm.
If you lived in this world long enough, you're going to have things to happen into your life that you can't do nothing about. You have to control what you can control and pray for the other people. And Jesus said, if you've never sinned, cast the first stone. And he went back down again and started doodling back in the dirt. He waited a few minutes, and they started to leave, the Bible said, one by one. One by one they left. And he looked at the woman and he said, where's your accusers? And she said, I don't have any. And he said, neither do I condemn you. Go your way and sin no more. He had forgave her. Now, he wouldn't expect her to jump back in bed with another man. He said, sin no more. But we have to be able to forgive. Sin hadn't just started yesterday or today. I've often thought, if Adam and Eve hadn't sinned in the Garden of Eden, what would life be like? I believe it'd be just like heaven. Because if you read the story about the Garden of Eden, they had everything they wanted there. The temperature was set at a certain temperature, and it didn't change. But see, when sin entered in, everything changed in. And men, I know we blame Eve, but we took a bite too. Sin is sin. Then we find the first murder in the Bible. What caused the first murder? Sin. Jealousy. Cast the first stone if you ain't ever seen it. What made Eve sin? She rebelled against God. See, God had given, when He created man and woman, He gave them a free choice. Just like He gives us a free choice. We can come to church every Sunday and live the best we can. Or we can come to church on Sunday and go outside of this church and do some of the worst things in the world. Nobody never know about it except God. I tell you, all you got to do is watch TV a few minutes. And you'll see how bad sin is. We kind of sheltered right here.
Right.
We kind of sheltered. Thank God.
Amen.
And all you got to do is listening to them children in Mobile. There's a murder every night in Mobile. Every night. There was 9 murders in 7 days of this year in Mobile. Me and Jack goes through Mobile to sale. And by the way, I drove my truck, me and him going all over this United States, that old red truck, and I didn't even buy a tag card last year. Do you believe that? Well, they doubled up on me this year, Bill. I want to call me this year. Katie went to buy a tag for her grandma's car, and she got out there and they said it's done been bought. See what happened? Martha's old car, the 2000 Chevrolet, is maroon. My truck is maroon. And when I went to the tag office to buy it, they give me the wrong tag. Now they blame me on it, but I know what they done. I mean, if I'm paying for it, you know, I come back home and put it on my truck. We had to take the tag off and take a light and blue lighter, heat it up, and pull it off. They charged me $40, yeah. Because I didn't have a tag. I told Dudley Nichols, I said, I didn't get caught when he charged me $40. That's something. Bob, I could have been getting you to come get me out of jail. They put me under the jail over at Mobile. Now they strict on the running without a expired tag. I told Martha, I said, well, I guarantee you I bought that tag, so I'll go to my pocket of that truck. I always put the registration in the pocket of that truck. Dug every registration out. I had them all the way back from 2009 to 2000. I said, well, I don't get the ball. Deacon of the church driving a truck without a tag on it. I don't know, I guess that's one of them sins you don't know anything about till it catches up with you. Already done, yeah. My hard-earned money. Katie went down there and tried to buy it, and she said, "There's somebody done bought it." She said, "Ain't no way, I ain't bought no tag for my nana's car." They said, "Well, somebody bought it." And then the lady said, "We got a red truck down there. Maybe it got mixed up." And she said, "Well, he just used it up on the farm." Bless your heart. She's trying to help now. She said he just used it on the farm. But anyhow, let's get back on our thing. Neither do I condemn thee. Go and sin no more. You know, it's amazing how Jesus is so understanding and ready to forgive us for anything we do. With arms wide open. Arms wide open. I appreciate y'all coming and listening to me tonight. I don't think we're going to honor an invitation because I know all of y'all are Christians. And most of you come to the altar and pray this morning, but I appreciate y'all coming and listening to me. Appreciate Brother Patrick letting me do it.
We appreciate you, Brother Mark.
And maybe we'll do it again in 3 or 4 months. I'm not intending to be a preacher. But his brother Jeff been getting up here and talking about going out and witnessing. To me, this kind of rejuvenates me to another point.
Amen.
I had chill bumps just running all over me this morning. Just down me from the toes all the way to the top of my head. I almost had to put my coat back on. But it was a good feeling, tight chill bump.
Praise the Amen.
Y'all know men, when you go to these women barbers, you sit down in the chair and they come up there and put their hand on your neck. How that feels?
Let's talk about
Oh, yeah. Yeah, sure. Now, that's nothing wrong with that, but I'm just saying my wife will even touch me on my neck or face or something, and it makes chill bumps on me. But
That's why I cut dress the same.